I'm Fabien Delonnay. I'm French. After finishing my study, I decided to teach in India. I taught at different universities, Pune University and Symbiosis Institutes. So I knew then I wanted to teach, but I wasn't sure about whether it would be economics or other topics. Then I came back to my country and I took the exam to become a French teacher. Then I taught 1 year in a very poor area around Paris, and it was extremely rewarding because there were many children in need, and as a teacher I have a lot, or you have that social dimension, to deal with poor children in need, and there was a lot of teamwork among the different teachers. After that, I taught 2 years, in Syria. Then I taught 3 years in Oman, which is an Arabic country. So that's 5 years teaching in French schools overseas in Arabic countries. Then 1 year in Finland in a bilingual school. There are many differences between education in Finland and in France. So I will talk about the grading system and other aspects in education as well. Children do spend less time in classroom than in France, for example. It's really, classes, and in the US it's a little bit the same. In France, typically children end up school at 4:30, 4:30 in the afternoon. Whereas in Finland and in the USA as well, pupils end their day much earlier. And still, as I will tell you later on, children in Finland do get excellent tests, on an international test which is called PISA, P-I-S-A. So they spend less time in classroom than in France, and they do get better results. Other thing which is very striking to me is I really have the feeling, being French, and in French education is still based on authority. But I really feel authority much more assertive in my home country than in Finland, for example. In Finland, for example, you do have a lot of dialogues between teachers and children. If there is a problem, the children, is taken apart, and then, during recess, for example, really the teacher or the teachers, talk with the child or the children, and trying to resolve, the problem. Whereas in my home country, I tend to believe it's much more based, once more on authority. We do listen to the problems, but still leave us alone. The trust between adults and children, I just talked about it. And what is very interesting in trust is regarding religion as well. In Protestantism, and that is one reason why the northern countries, and especially Finland, is doing extremely well regarding the PISA test. Religions as well, are well studied at school. So basically you can study the different religions, so if you are Muslim, you can study the Muslim religion, plus the others. Children in need are not left behind. That is very striking. We French people, we really believe in equality, like many people on the earth, but it's very deeply rooted, in our genes, But still, I tend to believe in Finland, you do have specialists, come to the class, and take really the children in need, and there is a very strong teamwork for those children in need as well, meetings with the parents. And I tend to believe that's one of the reasons Finland is doing well in the PISA test. And what is very interesting to notice is France and other countries, there is a wide gap between the very good and the very bad pupils. It's extremely wide. In Finland, it is very narrow. So it tells that a lot about, or not only what the system does for the very good ones, but also for those who are lagging behind. But there is less pressure for homework. They really want the child, once he leaves or she leaves schools, to do activities and to have a rest as well. So there is tremendous, respect for the well-being of the child after school. I believe it's based on trust. I told you, earlier. There is a dialogue. There are dialogues between teachers and students. One reason as well is the lack of pressure. What do I mean by that? Children are not graded. When they are at the elementary school, there aren't any grade. When they are 12, then our grading system still is very, I think, rigid. For example, if you're excellent out of 20, you need to have 16, and 12, still 12 out of 20 is a good grade, which is, comparing with the US, 12 out of 20 is not that great. Still, in the French system, it is a good grade, But I tend to believe that the French teachers, for example, we don't like outsiders that much to be in our class. It's like an intrusion, in a way, in your private life, because of the lack of trust, I tell you, and everything like that. In Finland, totally different. People, the other teachers said, welcome to my class, and I was there teaching, in mathematics with another Finnish teacher, and she was very happy to be with me, and I was very happy to be with her, and there was no fear, no judgment from either side, So that kind of teamwork, environment where basically there is no one superior to the other, when you really, there is a lot of cooperation going on, I think it tells a lot about the objectives, it's a friendly environment. The weather is terrible. In winter, the weather is very dark. It gets very cold. So how can I say? Finland is very nice. I mean, in summertime, but when winter comes, I mean, I think it is very difficult to live. So the French school in Syria and the French school in Oman, where I taught, I mean, it was very different from Finland. It was much more rigid. The curriculum was much more rigid, in terms of assessments as well. Teachers, they were mostly French, whereas in Finland it was really like half and half, with French and Finnish. Otherwise, as a whole, education in Oman and in Syria, it is much more based on authority. There is no question about it. So I know that in Syria, I mean, a friend of mine told me that, I mean, it was not uncommon to have 40, 45 pupils per class, And it is a system which really you have to know by heart, much more than in a typical French school overseas. So it's like worlds apart, even though, I mean, I'm not that familiar with the Omani and the Syrian system of education.
But in the United States now, you've come back twice.
Yes. Okay, so there are a few reasons behind that. I mean, one of the reasons is I like the USA, and the area here, the Northeastern area, is very nice. I mean, New York, Philadelphia, Boston, it's an area I like a lot. I liked a lot, I do like a lot. Other reason, and that's more professional, it's in the USA you've got many bilingual schools, and I believe in bilingualism more and more. I tend to believe that, I mean, once you learn studying another language, it broadens up your mind considerably. I mean,
it makes you capable of learning more?
Yes, yeah, definitely. In a French-American school, the curriculum is French and in English, and you do have to work, with the American, person, your peer, your English, Here, I think it's maybe the ability as well to think, in two languages, that's one possible thing. Well, to me, the question of traveling, is meeting the others. So, I mean, somehow, if I don't learn from the others, it's a failure. So, it would be unthinkable for me to be in the USA, and not meet and get to know the American people, and the same would be like in Finland, and the same would apply as well, in the Arabic countries. So
right.
I think it's very important to deal with the local people and learn from them, rather than exclusively be with the French people, I mean, in Syria, in Oman, or in the USA. I mean, that's what I tend to believe.
You were a great model for an exchange teacher, and I really appreciate everything you've done for the foundation.